Hello and welcome to the Sports in the YouTube channel. I want to talk today about Ange Postecoglou. Tottenham have just given up a 2-goal lead going into the second half against, albeit, a decent Brighton side. But listen, any team who goes in at half-time 2-0 up should be closing a game out. You should not be losing that game. And I was listening to the fan overlap last week as I was travelling around, and I think it was Rory Jennings that had a hot take, and his hot take on this particular episode was that Ange Postecoglou is a fraud. And it kind of didn't settle in me at the time when he said it. He was like in one ear and out the other. I was just listening to it driving along, and after watching this game just now, it just turned my memory back to that conversation. I was like, is he a fraud? He goes on in pre-season, I think it was about, I always win a trophy in my second season. Mate, who have you managed? You're not managing bloody Kangaroo United. This is the Premier League. This is the big boy league. This is the elite level. And jog your memory back to last season when Spurs went down to 9 men. I think it was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They were playing Chelsea at home. And he was still playing a high line on the halfway line. And look, as a neutral, we all loved it. We all loved watching it. It was entertaining, but they got battered in the end. Chelsea, I can't remember how many they won by. I think Nicholas Jackson got a hat-trick, but he should have got about 5 or 6. Chelsea missed so many chances that day. It was so easy to get through their defence. Now, just quickly, I want to jog your memory back a few weeks. It was Arsenal going away to Manchester City. They went down to 10 men. Trossard got sent off just before half-time. Arsenal went into the half-time interval with a 2-1 lead, came out, and Arteta just went, do you know what? We're not even playing with a striker this half. We're going to just sit in. We're going to have defence, midfield, and that's it. We're going to try and protect this lead. And I just think, listen, I will never slag off Jurgen Klopp because he brought me some of the best footballing years of my life. But last season, Liverpool gave up a lead. I think it was 16 times, I think, if my memory serves me rightly. And he plays a similar sort of style to Ange Postecoglou. It's just all guns blazing, go, 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 get that goal. And listen, it's great to watch, but our team's getting better now. Are the so-called lesser teams getting better at playing football? We all say that the Premier League's the best league in the world, and arguably it probably is. But anyway, back to Postecoglou. So Tottenham today, they went in with a 2-goal lead, and they should have just managed the game out. They should have just seen it out. They should have just sat back. Because Brighton, they'll come at you. They like to play football. They will do exactly the same sort of style of play, or very, very similar to what Tottenham do. They'll push up. They'll play a high line. You saw it against Chelsea the other week where they lost 4-2, I think it was. It was suicide defending. I did a podcast on it, actually. It was suicide defending. So they play a similar sort of football. So Tottenham could have... Postecoglou, with a little bit of nous about him, anyone could have seen, right, okay, boys, great first half, but what we're going to do now, we're going to sit back, because this team, they're going to come at us anyway, but they're 2 goals down now, so they're going to come at us even more. They've got even more reason to try and get back in the game and try and push bodies forward, and we're going to get loads of opportunities on the counter-attack. And Tottenham have got some really, really good players to play counter-attacking football for 45 minutes at least. They've got Brendan Johnson-Mummy, who's pretty quick. They've got Kulusevski, who I think is pretty quick as well. If my memory serves, Timo Werner. Listen, he can't score for toffee, but he's quick. He can get you up the pitch very, very quickly. Ange should have seen that coming. He should have been able to manage that game a lot better. And so Brighton came out. They got, I can't remember what minute they actually scored on. But eventually they started losing the game 3-2. And they went on to lose 3-2. So I wanted to do a little bit of research into this. And I wanted to look at some of the elite managers. Because Tottenham fans will argue that they are an elite club. That's up for debate. But I wanted to look at some of the average goals that some of the top managers in the Premier League now and in the past conceded throughout the season. So we'll go straight away, Pep. And listen, I know the argument is they've got more money, better players, yada, yada, yada. But, we're just doing this as a point to prove. So anyway, Pep Guardiola, he averages to concede, and this is Premier League alone, 28 goals per season. Jurgen Klopp, 37 Again, these are all averages. Arteta, 31 goals. Ferguson, he was 33. Arsene Wenger, 36. Right, and I'm gonna give you Ange Postecoglou's record now. So this season they've won 3, lost 3, drawn 1. So absolutely inconsistent all the way through the season so far. But take the goals, they've conceded 8 goals this season, but take them out of the equation. Last season they conceded 61 goals. 61. That's nearly double. That's double some of the managers, some of the teams that I've just been talking about. You ain't never going to get Champions League football when you're conceding 61 goals a season. You can't do it. You've got to shore up that defence. You've got to protect your back 4 or back 5, with the wing backs, whatever system you're playing. You've got to make sure, because teams are getting better now. The lesser teams are getting better. Like, you've seen the resurgence of Brighton. Who'd have thought that Brighton, when they came into the Premier League, that they'd end up being a mainstay in the Premier League, let alone pushing for Europe pretty much year in, year out. West Ham, they've had a bit of a tricky start this season, but they've been pushing for Europe the last 3-4 seasons. Teams, if you're not on it all the time, if you're not sure at the back, teams can beat you. Teams can hurt you. Look, my team were guilty of this season. And we've shored up our defence loads. We've only conceded 2 goals this season. And we lost at home to Nottingham Forest because we wasn't just switched on for the full 90 minutes. And that's what can happen to you. And again, back to Postecoglou, I just think to myself, this guy he's either a little bit clueless or he's a little bit stubborn. But either way, if he carries on with this system of football, yeah, it's great to watch, but Spurs fans have no doubt that sooner or later, when you're not winning trophies, when you're not qualifying for Champions League, excuse me, you're making some questionable signings. I'd question Solanke for 65 million. I think he's a decent player, but he's a little fish in a big pond right now. And he was the same when he went to Liverpool. There was a reason why Liverpool let him go. There was a reason why Chelsea let him go. And I could be wrong on that. He's only 7 games or however many games into his Spurs career. But there's some questionable stuff going on at Spurs. And I think it's only a matter of time before the Spurs fans do get a little bit pissed off with this style of play, because you're not winning anything. You're not getting Champions League. And ultimately, yeah, we all love to play attacking football. But what do we go to games for? What do we tune into the games for? Because we want to see his team win. We don't want to see his teams conceding 2-3 goals every week. And that is what I think. Spurs have played 7 games in the Premier League. They've conceded 8 goals so far. And as I say, 61 goals last season. You ain't getting nowhere in the Premier League conceding 61 goals. So I'm going to leave it at that. Let us know in the comments what you think. Is Ange Postecoglou a bit of a fraud? Is he getting found out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that thumbs up button if you like the video. And don't forget to give us a subscribe. Catch you later.